trying to figure out what exactly had happened, initially thinking it was fireworks, then realizing it could be something more serious, and now, of course, we know deadly. I am in the parking lot right now, just outside of the This is where police have had their cars parked. This
That's
is where
not
we
good.
evacuated to when we were told to leave the site. That is now a crime scene, and I've been running into witnesses here as people have been trying to find their cars, trying to make their way out, and that is where I ran into a man named Joseph. I want to introduce him to you now. And as we just learned, Joseph, you weren't listening to the program here, but Lester Holt, NBC News, just reporting that one of the attendees has died from injuries as a result of the shooting. Joseph, you told me off camera that you may have witnessed this, and I'm so sorry to be talking to you in this tragic moment, but can you describe what it is that you saw?
I was attending the rally. I was in the set of bleachers, to the very far left of the podium where President Trump was speaking. I was there with friends. I heard several gunshots. The man beside me suffered a gunshot wound to the head. Was instantly killed. From the bottom of the bleachers, another woman looked like she got hit in the forearm or hand. And then at that point in time, it was rather chaotic at that point because half the people were looking because they thought it was fireworks and it was gunshots right away. My friend,
home a $127,000 jackpot. She won gambling at the MGM in Detroit. Denise Ezell, who was black, tells Fox News Detroit. Security refused to cash her off because she was banned from the casino. An incident happened between Denise and a family member years back at the casino where she was tossed out. She claimed she had no idea that she was banned from the establishment.
And then I don't carry the man out of the bleachers to a tent that was behind the bleachers.
You helped carry the man yourself. What was his condition when you were carrying him?
He's deceased. He died.
How close were you to him?
A couple yards. I mean, it wasn't very far.
Did you know the man?
No, it was a complete stranger. They put a towel over his head and then carried him off.
And you said there was another woman nearby who was also injured. Where was she in relation to him?
I believe she was in the bleachers, like either behind, above me, or just to the side of him. But it seemed like she was kind of up my flank, and then she flinched, and it looked like she had taken a gunshot wound to the forearm and hand.
Joseph, from where I was standing, we heard multiple gunshots, 8 to 11 shots. We've been hearing it replayed on the video here. Do you remember, can you tell, I know it was a chaotic scene, but at what point, was it immediately when you heard the gunshots that he was shot, or was it later on into the firing?
The first 7, he was hit and she was hit within the first 7 shots. I counted 7 shots.
What was going through your mind? You were right there. I know it happened so quickly, but what can you tell us about those moments?
First, I was in shock because I know what gunshots sound like, so I knew there were gunshots. I couldn't tell from where they were coming from. And when I noticed someone got hit, then I noticed, well, it seemed like they were coming from behind me, and it just was pandemonium. And then I heard some more shots. I couldn't quite tell where they were coming from, but I counted the first 7. They were very loud, very close, and it killed one man and wounded another woman.
You told me that you're a doctor, you're an OBGYN. How did that background play into how quickly you were sort of able to assess the situation and know what happened to these individuals and know what was going on?
Well, I told the police when I tried to render assistance. I told the police I could render assistance. They had another physician on the EMT team, so they kind of took over. So they didn't really need me, so I kind of helped carry him down initially out of the bleachers. I mean, there wasn't the man that got hit. There was no assistance that needed to be given, and unfortunately, his family witnessed the whole thing. It seemed like he had several family members in the bleacher with him, and they were quite upset. They didn't know. They were in shock. They didn't quite know what was going on, but the man was definitely killed instantaneously.
Could you tell us sort of how many family members or people who knew him were with him, and what was their reaction?
I thought there was 5 people. 2 of them were relatively hysterical. So, but they were, when we took the man out of the bleachers, he went to the tent. There was an 8 tent or some type of tent behind the bleachers where they took the body, and they immediately evacuated the family with them. And the 2 out of the 5, it seemed, were in shock, hysterical. Like they were still trying to process what was going on.
Joseph, from where I was standing, we heard the shots. We saw the president go down.
I saw President Trump get hit.
Can you tell us what details you remember?
It seemed like his head was off to the side, and it seemed seemed to me like he was looking to the side and the round grazed his ear. So.
Could you tell the gentleman that was hit in the head what angle he was in relation to the former president? Like which direction the bullets were coming from and to?
So it looked like he was facing the president at the very far left portion of the bleachers. So he's directly facing it. Again, it seemed to me like the shots were coming from the rear, like behind us. And for me, it seemed like the man was in the way. Like, I guess.
In the way of the former president?
No, it seemed like the man was in the way of the shots between whoever was shooting the gun and the president. The man who was hit, it seemed like he was in the crossfire.
And I know you're in shock and still processing all of this. It's sort of hard to evaluate our own emotions in this moment, but you just experienced something horrific.
Yes. What
can you tell us about your state of mind right now?
Yeah, I've had opportunities to go to these rallies before. It's the first one I ever went to. Had time off to go do it. I was kind of excited to go, but everyone, it's something you don't expect. It comes out of the blue. It's like a bolt out of the blue, and it's shocking. The way politics goes in this country, it just seems like it's really polarized. Everyone's just very angry. I'm honestly shocked this didn't happen earlier. I was calling my friend and went to the event with me. I was like, the back behind the bleachers, it's really open. It seems like a really open venue, and it just, I got this sense that, someone really wanted to do something. Again, I was openly talking where I was like, if something was bad was going to be happening, this is the perfect venue to have. I just said this like an hour before it happened. I was like, this would be the perfect place to do it. And, surprisingly enough, it happened.
A devastatingly prescient observation from you. Let me ask you one more question, because from where I was, there was confusion, then Trump stood up and there were some cheers, and then people sort of remained, those that were in sort of the immediate zone where you were, people were still sort of cheering and talking, trying to figure out what was going on. How quickly did you know that whether or not there was a dangerous situation? It seemed like people sort of started to try to move on very quickly, not sure what had happened, right? So how soon did you know whether or not it was even safe? Did you want to get out of there? What did you notice in sort of the immediate aftermath once the shots stopped?
Well, it seemed like the shots went off. Everyone thought it was a prank. Everyone, I think, got a sense. Like when I looked out to the crowd, I think the initial reaction, everyone thought it was a prank. I knew everyone was a gunshot because I just saw a guy get hit. And it just...
For those of us that didn't see, some people started laughing, some people were confused. It wasn't immediately clear to the crowd that didn't witness what you witnessed, that this was, in fact, a dangerous and deadly situation.
It was a dangerous and deadly situation. I got the problem is it's a large crowd. And when the gunshots went off, I think they were, again, my sense was they were being shot from behind, so they sounded a bit muffled. So it sounded more like a firecracker going off. So I think the initial reaction from the people around me were like, okay, well, someone brought fireworks. I just knew better. I knew what gunshots sound like. And, when I saw the guy took a gunshot wound to the head, and then I saw the woman who got hit in the forearm in the hand, I just knew it wasn't fireworks. I mean, it wasn't fireworks initially, but I think the majority of the crowd didn't understand that there was gunfire. And I think people took it really seriously when the SWAT team started jumping over the rails. So I don't know what to tell you outside of that.
Joseph, I know this. I can't imagine what it takes to describe what you just witnessed in these moments, right in the aftermath. So we thank you so much for sharing. Lester?
And Dasha, thank you for that account. I mean, no one should have to, fear for their life going to a political rally, something that is uniquely American. But these people have experienced the horror of someone opening fire on the crowd and a former president who was, of course, the headliner at this rally tonight. As we've been reporting, one spectator is dead, another is in critical condition. The shooter, this all according to the Butler County DA, the shooter is also deceased. Our senior White House correspondent Kelly O'Donnell joins us again. Kelly, you have a new statement from President Biden.
That's correct, Lester. This is from President Biden, who is in Rehoboth, and he talks about this incident. He begins by saying, "I've been briefed on the shooting at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania. I'm grateful to hear that he's safe and doing well. I'm praying for him and his family and for all those who were at the rally as we await further information. Jill and I are grateful to the Secret Service for getting him to safety. There's no place for this kind of violence in America. We must unite as one nation to condemn it. The words of Joe Biden after learning about this incident involving his predecessor and his current rival in the political environment of this 2024 campaign. The president has been briefed by top officials. He has been talking with Homeland Security officials, and he is at his home in Rehoboth, Delaware, where he has a full complement of the things needed for the office, where he can get the income streams of all the relevant information. This first statement coming from President Biden, I would not be at all surprised if we don't hear more from him tonight as new developments take place. Lester?
All right, Kelly, thank you for that. Terry Schultz is with the Butler County, Pennsylvania District Attorney's Office and was at the rally. She is still there and joins me on the phone. Terry, first of all, if you could just walk us through what you saw, where you were in this crowd.
You know what? We didn't have VIP seats. We were a few rows back, enough that we could, see the former president, and then we were all standing there watching the jumbotron. They had put him on, and the next thing we did was we hear 3 shots. I see kind of his head, the former president's head, go sideways. You can see kind of like, blood, and at that point I wasn't looking at anything. I was with some friends. They were like, you need to get down, everybody get down. The people around me, there were some young people crying, and to be honest with you, at the time this happened, I wasn't even sure they were gunshots. But then we heard like 3 or 4 shots, and then we heard shots kind of return. A friend of mine videoed that, and we just watched that, and that's what we saw and what we heard.
From your vantage point, were you able to see where the shots were coming from? Was it obvious?
It was not, but you could hear them, and as soon as you heard the shot, your head turned towards the left. We have a route that runs outside the Butler Farm Show, Route 68, and it sounded like the shots were coming from out there near the field to the left-hand side of where we were. So it certainly was scary.
Some people didn't realize what was happening. Were you one of them who was not quite sure what you were witnessing?
Absolutely. And again, and so I was with some friends, and my girlfriend is like, you have to get down. People around us were pulling us down and saying, you have to get down. So I can tell you that it was chaos at the time.
Have you been to one of these rallies before?
I have not. It was my first time at a rally, and I was certainly excited, to go to one. We had so many people there. But I can tell you, the chaos that this created, everyone was scared. You see the former president and what's happening, and then when I ascertained what had happened from my Pennsylvania State Police friends, it was very scary, but it was really understanding that they got scared. But
reaction is proceeding?
Well, I know that I'm seeing a lot of news trucks around here. I know that there were tons of Secret Service here. And again, I guess for me, I just question how it, somebody got through security or where this person was, and it feels that somebody wasn't looking after them. And I guess that's just me and from my perspective of what I do.
Yeah. All right, Terry, thank you very much. As we continue to look at some of the pictures of the aftermath, we've shown you some still photos as well, where people crouched down for safety. I'm not sure at that moment where the threat was coming from. I want to tell you we are hearing that we will hear from the president. We saw him in a statement a few minutes ago from President Biden at some point this evening. We don't have a firm time on that, but we'll keep you honest and let you know when we know more about that. In the meantime, we've seen in Washington correspondent Hallie Jackson. Hallie, we were all shocked and certainly saddened at the loss of life here and injuries, and I'm certainly grateful with the former president is okay, but this is going to be a very tough conversation at least coming forward, one we've had on different levels before. Share your thoughts if you would.
Yeah, and none of it, of course, taking away, Lester, from, as you described, the urgency and frankly, the devastation of this moment, given what we have now learned about what has happened at this rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. I can tell you that our team here at NBC News is out to a myriad of campaign sources close to former President Trump. And obviously the latest that we've heard, and you've been reporting this, is that he is okay. He is, in the words of a spokesperson, fine and being looked at. We are seeking more information. I can also tell you that based on a message to staff obtained by our colleagues here at NBC, Alan Smith and Matt Dixon, a top campaign official is telling staff members that everything is okay, that we have no details to share at this time, but saying they'll follow up soon with more information. They are directing staff members to not speak with members of the media. They want what they describe as a total lockdown here. They add that your personal safety is of the utmost importance here. To pray, remain vigilant, and be strong. That is the messaging now, according to NBC News, that Trump campaign staff members are getting from the top, as there is just, it is always, of course it is chaotic in the moments after something like this happens, and it's also, I think, another reason to be extraordinarily careful in what and how we report what we know has occurred here in what is just a historic day here in the United States.
Yeah, and then of course, we are here in the weekend before the Republican National Convention. Obviously, there will be some changes. We don't know what is in effect, but we're getting primetime campaign season now.
Yeah, we sure are, right? And this is a moment where everybody begins to pay attention, especially considering the start of the convention. I mean, think about it, Lester, not looking at the time here just after 8 o'clock Eastern, not maybe 3+ hours ago. The biggest story that I think most campaign reporters were chasing was who Donald Trump picked to be his running mate. That was sort of much of the attention here on this rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. The conversation has clearly and necessarily changed very dramatically since then. I think one of the questions moving forward is going to be the movements of former President Trump. How long is he going to remain in the medical facility where he's at now? Where will he head after that? Does he still plan to be at the Republican National Convention starting on Monday? Obviously, that kicks off in Milwaukee with the expectation that at some point between now and of course next week, he would announce his vice presidential pick. That is obviously taking a backseat to the immediate question of his own health and safety, as he is the presumptive Republican nominee here. And we are going to try to get some answers to those questions just as soon as we can, Lester.
All right, Hallie, we'll ask you to stand by. Thanks. Let me bring in Kristen Welker, moderator of Meet the Press. She's in Washington. Kristen, you're learning a little more from the Biden campaign, their immediate reaction to this.
Lester, we are, and our Monica Alba, who covers the Biden campaign, has this reporting that according to a campaign official, the Biden campaign is pausing all outbound communications and working to pull down our television ads as quickly as possible. And Lester, this underscores part of the conversation we were having earlier, which is that this is a moment that brings the country together in shock and condemnation for this political violence. We are hearing from all corners of the political universe, including some of those who have been quite critical of former President Trump. Liz Cheney, for example, saying the reports of the shooting in Pennsylvania are horrifying. Violence of any kind has no place in American politics. politics. We are grateful for the reaction of the Secret Service and other law enforcement and pray for the former president and all those injured. Similar messages from former President George W. Bush, House Speaker Mike Johnson, and on, Lester. And it does come on the eve of the Republican National Convention. Former President Trump, his campaign apparatus, Republicans all over the country poised to lobby to officially nominate former President Trump as their party's nominee. And as Alan was just saying, we anticipated and we were working on trying to determine who former president will pick to serve as his vice presidential nominee. And now, of course, the focus has shifted to this horrifying topic of political violence and what this country needs to do to prevent something like this from happening again. Lester.
All right, Kristen, thanks very much. Let me reset here for our viewers just joining us on the Saturday evening. We are on the air with breaking news. There has been a shooting at Donald Trump's Pennsylvania rally this evening. The former president has been injured. How he was injured is not clear at this time. I want to pause here. We're going to roll the video of what happened just shortly after 6 p.m. here in the East while Mr. Trump was speaking. Here it is.
That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's sad, take a look at what happened.
I want to bring in now Abby Palm-Porras, a former Secret Service agent. We thank you for joining us again. We hear at one point, I didn't hear this in the earlier recordings, we hear at one point one of the tactical clothed individuals say the shooter is down. As you watch that unfold, I take it they were not prepared to move him until they knew where the threat was.
Yes, you can hear that clear line of communication, and the communication is very clear and succinct. Can we move? Are we clear? You hear shooters down, and you hear, are we clear to move? Clear to move. So you're hearing them speak